The classroom, and sometimes some of the most powerful stories aren't necessarily the most colorful ones. Sometimes the best stories are told in black and white.
67 years later, a group from Kansas City has taken the time to come right here.
That brings us to Money, Mississippi, a predominantly black school and a predominantly Jewish white school. Just one leg of this trip.
His fate ended up here.
This is where Emmett Till was removed after his lifeless body was thrown into the Tallahatchie River.
Just shows how cruel the world can be sometimes.
Definitely uncomfortable for these teens and for their teachers.
And they should care about this trip because it changes lives. It literally puts people into different paths.
And they wouldn't have it any other way.
It's not just sitting in the classroom listening to somebody tell you, you're actually seeing things.
Uncomfortability is a good thing, and that you only find peace and you're only able to reconcile when you find those uncomfortable spots and you sit in them and you savor them and you seek why they're uncomfortable.
As we continue to learn about race, and unfortunately racists, these two schools found themselves equally immersed in an uncomfortable experience as a group.
Walking across the Edmund Pettus Bridge with both schools, with everyone walking in twos or threes.
And separately, with equal impact in a world that claimed to be just that, separate but equal. Students from both schools sat down with me to talk about their experiences.
There's more work that needs to be done.
And how it'll help shape them to make our society better.
We went to a park and it was talking about how like they used to use the hoses and stuff on us to like keep us away or like keep us segregated. And it was just like really important for us to see that.
This is the nozzle and it's like right there. And I'm 5'1".
What's the biggest lesson you learned while on this trip?
We need to recognize the humanity in everybody.
We were going towards the place where Emmett Till's body was dragged out of a river. It was quiet because we know that we're about to see something that is definitely going to stay with us for the rest of our lives.
It was just a very uncomfortable moment, but like I think it's important and there's value in like just sitting in that uncomfortableness.
The two schools also learned about Jim Crow, the history of lynching, the story of the Little Rock 9 integrating Central High School, important protests, sit-ins, and so much more. And while so much of this trip was serious, you know, there were moments they learned about and embraced what makes them different.
That they've never been to a church, like ever. And it makes sense though, because they're Jewish. I've never been to a synagogue.
Oh, like we can't really do fun things on Saturday, but we didn't get to show the UA students like the beauty of Judaism. Like, bro, you haven't had matzo ball soup yet. Like
the trip providing food for thought in more ways than one. The two schools have partnered and done this trip a few times before, this being the first since the pandemic and a year of racial reckoning in which we were forced to take a hard look in the mirror, leaving these young people inspired to make a difference.
A lot of the civil rights movement where kids our age, like we have the power, we have voices, and it really encouraged me to like actually know that we've contributed to America a lot more than we've had any credit for.
All right, so a couple things that stood out to me here.
Yeah.
These kids are brilliant. They are some of the brightest kids I've talked to in quite some time. And also, I got to try some matzo ball soup.
You got to try it, Kevin. It's good. It's good. It was so powerful when Ellie and Noah were talking about being uncomfortable. It's okay to be comfortable and sitting in those uncomfortable situations. What a powerful conversation.
All about embracing what makes us different.
Yeah.
They do that trip every couple of years, so the next trip is in 2 years, and we hope to be along for the ride there.
Absolutely.